Hi Gemini, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carole and this is going to be a general reading for you for August 2026. And I hope you're all doing well. In today's reading, we're going to be doing mirror work. And this is one of the personal readings that I offer to you on my website, carolecares.com. And because it is one of the personal readings, I've decided that I would give you a significant discount on it if you're interested in getting a personal reading. It's actually the reading that is most requested, and I'll give you a shorter version of it here, but you'll get a longer version when you actually get a personal reading done. So mirror work is something that we can use to understand what's going on with our internal system and our belief systems. And something in the universe is trying to reflect something to us that's going to help us connect with something that's coming up for healing in our inner world. So our outer world is actually the mirror, and it's being held up to us. And so if we can take a look at what's happening in our outer world, right? We look at our relationships, we look at how our pets are acting, how people are acting with us, what are we involved in, or what sort of drama or issues or patterns are we seeing in our own life right now that's going on. So is there something physical in your body? I've been dealing with a pain in my shoulder that just appeared this last week, and I knew here's another layer because I've really had a lot of issues in my adult life with my right my shoulder, and so this is just another layer coming off of it, right? We can deal with, I've dealt with my shoulder before, and I thought, oh, you know, it's done, but I knew it wasn't done because I can't sleep on this shoulder, and so here I was, another layer was coming, I needed to work on, and I knew that, and I had to work through that. And so we start building awareness to, okay, this is what's going on. I'm consciously aware that my shoulder's aching right now. And I know now, whenever anything happens in my body, it's like, okay, what is this? And I knew there was something here. And that's how we start to become aware, you know. We look around, we see what's going on in our outer world. And that's what we need to heal in our inner world. So, it's very critical that we try to excavate, right? Okay, like you become this detective. And so in today's reading, I'm going to be using I'm going to use the other, I don't know why I've just been using this side, the Erenberg Tarot for your conscious outer world. I'm going to pull 3 cards and only 3 cards. I'm very strict about that. And then that's your mirror. And then I'm going to look at, okay, what's coming up for healing, right? This is our inner world, and this is our unconscious. It's your shadow. It's like, what have you buried? What is this pain? What are these emotions? What's this trauma? What's coming up for healing here that this is trying to show you? And then I'll get a final message from the universe, and then we'll get... the tarot is going to tell us, okay, how are you going to start to heal this? This is a process. And so I'm not going to say there's this, you know, I'm going to give you a pill, a secret magic pill, but I will say, okay, this is where we need to go. And then I'll also suggest some videos from my other channel called Carole Cares YouTube channel, and there's some videos on there for your healing. So let's begin, Gemini, and I'm going to ask for 3 cards. First, 1 card. This is your outer world. Okay, it's on your right side. 1 card that will get us going for your outer world. And you have the Ace of Swords in reverse. And your second card for the outer world came out quickly, your Queen of Wands. And then a final card for your outer world for Gemini. You have the Magician in reverse. And I think what I'll do is I'll pull the message from the universe right now I won't pull it. I'll wait. It was just something that was going on. I was arguing with myself in my head because I always don't. I wait until I'm done when I've laid this out. And I thought, oh, I'll just do it this time. And I was like, nope, you need to just wait. So, inner world. Let's have one card for the first card to start us off with. Gemini's inner world. And there is one card that's turned over already. The 8 of Cups. And I'm just going to put it back. Turn it over the other way. With the 10 of Wands. All right, one more card after the 8 of Cups. The Magician in reverse. And another card for you. Final card for Gemini. And yeah. There we go. Knight of Cups. Now I can pull the message from the universe. There we go. The Ace of Pentacles is the message. And the healing. What, where does Gemini start to heal? What does Gemini need here? One card for that. Oh, it was that one first. We're going to go with that. I think I saw that from before. Okay, so you have the Page of Cups. It's kind of sideways, so I'm going to leave it right there. Clarify with the Radiant Rider-Waite if I need to, but we're going to get started on your reading, Gemini. So, let's look at the message from the, sorry, not the message, the outer world, your outer world. So right now you're starting off with the Magician in reverse. And the Magician card, in an upright position, the Magician card talks about, I mean, you know, it's a card of manifestation, but I don't like that word only because people think that they can manifest anything they want. And you can, you know, essentially you can. But here's the thing. A lot of people will try to manifest something and not realizing that, you know, maybe this isn't good for me, but they want it and they'll take it on. But sometimes, you know, another lesson will come in. You have to be really careful with what you manifest because you need to be grounded. You need to really manifest from your intuitive self, from your intuition. And so I think there's a part of you right now, because this is in reverse, that believes that you don't have what it takes. I think you're not connected to your intuition. You don't believe that, you don't trust yourself, right? Because in an upright position, this is a card that says you have all the answers in you for whatever it is you need to do, want to do. I know when I first started my own healing journey, I wanted my life coach to give me all the answers. Like, I didn't have a clue when I started to chip away in all my trauma. I didn't have a clue as to what I should do about certain situations. I was so used to all my life being controlled by people. And so when it came to asking her, she'd say, well, you know what, you have the answers in you. And I hated that response. And so I'm here to say that you have all the answers in you, but you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that you can do this. And I don't know what it is, but it's like you're really doubting yourself right now. But the Ace of Swords is coming next in reverse as well. And the Ace of Swords, you know, when the single sword comes out, it's our sword of authenticity. It's our sword of who we are. And it's in reverse. And in this card, it's an ace, so it's an offer or a gift. And so you really don't know who you are. You're really confused. You're doubting yourself, and you really don't know who you are. And that's what I think what you're sitting with, Gemini. It's like, this is really coming up for you. And you know it. It's like, I'm sitting here going like, who the hell am I? What am I here for? What's my purpose? I don't know. because the Queen of Swords is the last card here, and that's your feminine side. And we all have a masculine and a feminine side, and masculine side is our mind, and the feminine side is our body. It's our emotions, it's our intuition. And in this case, she's sitting here with the wand, right? The wand is our purpose, our creative purpose, and what we came here to do. And so your purpose and who you are and what you came here to do is, maybe you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know why I'm here. I'm supposed to have this purpose. I know it. But you just don't know who you are. And you don't believe that the answer is in you. It really is. But you don't know how to get to it. You're very confused. And so this confusion, this I don't know who I am. Why don't I know who I am? Like, why am I so confused about this? Why don't I believe in myself? We're going to go over here. We're going to look at your unconscious. We're going to look at what's from your childhood, what's from your adolescence that you've buried. And there's something here coming up for healing because you need clarity on your purpose. And so where is this? Or maybe we'll get something here. I don't know what's going to come up, but you have the Eight of Cups here. And the Eight of Cups talks about this individual that has gone off. And it's not about, and cups are emotions, right? And so this individual has not given up on their emotions, but they've gone off to feel their emotions. And so this is in your shadow. This is what you've buried. So you've buried that, your emotions. You've buried, I don't think when you were younger, and you know, this is about your child when you're young, when you're an adolescent. I don't think you had access to them. You didn't have access to time alone or reflecting on who you were. And why is that? Like, why were you able to feel your emotions or take time out to do that? Well, you have the Magician card shows up again in reverse when you were younger. This time in a different position, but it's still here. And so I think you weren't allowed. I almost see, because I'm seeing the Knight here. I'm just wondering if you doubted you were made to doubt yourself when you were younger. And maybe somebody was very controlling. And, you know, maybe there was somebody, and I think I talked about it in the introduction, but maybe there was somebody that felt for you, that told you how to feel. No, you don't feel like this. No, this is how I feel. No, put that away. That's not how you feel. And here you are. This is your true self. This is you expressing your emotions when you were younger. Like, this is really how I feel. And maybe you were that type of individual that was very, very intuitive and a thinker, a deep thinker, right? This is this deep thinker kind of going, into themselves and thinking. Maybe you were an introvert, which is, somebody that liked to spend time by themselves alone. And you knew how you felt about things. But when you shared it with people, like, this is how I feel, this is what I think you were told, no, that's not how you think. And so that's where this confusion is coming in right now about who you are. Because you knew who you were when you were younger. And you were told, no, that's not who you are. That's not what you should be thinking. And that's why right now, it's all sort of mumbly, jumbly. You're confused. There's no clarity on that. Because you thought you had the clarity when you're younger. You did have it. But then you were made, I call that gaslighting. When you knew who you were and you expressed it to people and they said, no, that's not true. You're someone else. And that's really, that's gaslighting when they confused you when you were younger. And so here's the Knight of Cups that comes out afterwards. Well, the Knight in my deck is an adolescent part. There's 4 of them, but this particular one is the Knight of Cups, the Knight of authenticity, of cups, of emotions, of wanting to use your emotions and wanting to be your authentic self. Knights are called freedom fighters in my deck, and everybody has this part. It's a teenage part, so it's like, think of a teenager that wants nothing more than to be free. And maybe that was you as a young person. You wanted to be free. You wanted to be able to act on your emotions and feel your emotions because that was your authentic self. And you were told, no, that's not you. How much anger there would be. This Knight holds a shit ton of anger because people wouldn't let you, they didn't believe what you felt about yourself, about your emotions, about, especially, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, well, you're not allowed to be depressed. Why are you depressed? You should be happy. Things like that. It's like, no, I need to feel what this depression is that's sitting in my system. And so your anger, there's a lot of anger here that wants to come out. It seems to be a big theme this month where people are angry, and I get angry through my journaling. I get really angry, get rage on the page because I wasn't allowed to be angry when I was younger because I knew how I felt and I knew what I wanted, but nobody was going to listen to me. And then so what's the message from the universe? Well, you have an Ace of Pentacles right here. And it's an offer. The offer is a pentacle, and that's your body. The biggest form of self-love we can do for ourselves is to get back into our body because you need to feel that anger. And this is an offer from the universe that says you need to learn how to get back in your body. You have to get grounded so that you can express some of that anger on paper or on the computer because you need to get angry because people told you that you weren't allowed to feel or you weren't that person that you thought you were. And so the message, how do you start to heal this? Well, here's your Page of Cups in a sideways position. Well, this little Page of Cups, it's probably the most important card on this table. It's an inner child of yours. And I know I have more than one inner child because I've been on my own healing journey for 9.5 years now intensively. And I know I have more than one inner child. Mainstream psychology says we just have one. But our parts, we have different parts that hold different memories and emotions. And this little Page of Cups I call it my love seeker. It's your love seeker. It's that one part of you that didn't get the love that you wanted, that you needed when you were younger. And so I think there's a part of you that's still trying to get it from other people. And that's the one that will wreak the most havoc in your life. And it needs to grieve. This little part needs to grieve. And that's where this anger is coming from, you see, because anger is the emotion that will cover up the grief. And we need to get to that grief because that's where we're going to heal this wound that's sitting here, right? Of you not getting to know your true self. And so you have to get to your anger. And once you can get to your anger in a grounded way, and I'm going to leave you with a playlist on anger at the end of this grief is going to come naturally. You're not going to know when, but it's going to come. All of a sudden, after you get angry, you're going to find one day that the tears are going to come. It's not going to be crying. It's going to be grieving. True grieving of that loss of yourself. It's that loss of yourself. And so I'm going to leave you with that playlist on anger, and I want you to have compassion for yourself, Gemini, for what you're working through. This is a very difficult journey, your healing journey, but it's the most important one in your life. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.